Hello, this is a comparison between two Knight upright pianos that we have in stock. The shorter one is called a K20 and the taller one is called a K10. So the main difference is height, the other dimensions aren't that much different. So let's have a look at the K20 first of all. This one's made in 1971 and is one of the nicest that we've had. I expect we always say that when we're choosing them really carefully, and obviously choosing ones that haven't been too used, have been kept in a good environment. This one did need pitch raising quite a lot, and we've still got bits of voicing to do. Nowadays we always make a worksheet just to write down and think about any work that he's doing. As you see, it's quite bare really. I haven't put voicing on there yet, but there's always voicing to do, just light voicing on this one. And you can see there the dampers to A6. I just want to show you this about the difference on the damping, how much dampers there are. Sorry, I meant how many dampers there are. If we look, this is so that's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A. And there's a half damper. If you look at the, it's been cut slightly so that it merges in. So that one's not damped at all. That one's damped slightly, and that one's damped fully. That was the K6, and this is the K20, and this is the K10. And so we go up to C, which is 3 more dampers, and that's really far because there's again there's a half damper there. Well, that's mostly damping by the sound of it. But so that's a C. The other one went up to an A. Here's a Yamaha U1, and that's C sharp D. So that finishes a lot lower. The other one was finishing there and there. So A and C, and that is D. So a lot less dampers on the Yamaha U1. And this is a new Feurich 122. So that's the D where the Yamaha ended. So we go right up to G, so that's extra, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more than the U10. Again, half damping, and that's a good half damping there. Now I've got all the pianos opened up just to see if we can compare them, and the Knights, as I say, the damping isn't obviously the only important thing on a piano, and maybe not the most important. The important is the tone around the middle area, but it shows you, and it's one way sort of showing how Alfred Knight had a real passion for making the best possible upright piano he could. So there's the K20, I beg your pardon, and there's the K10. So I want you to notice this construction here. This is unique to Knights. We mentioned this before in a specialist Knight video, which I made recently, but they have no brace bar here. If we have a look at the other pianos, so let's look at the Yamaha here, and if we zero in on that, we can see that, by the way, it's got the Celeste on it. We can fit that on the Knights as well. It's a bit of extra work, but all Knights can be fitted with a Celeste if you want to practice pedal. And if we look down, I'm going to have to lift this up to see that there's a brace bar here. So there's a gap between here and here, and a slight difference in tone as a result, which there always is, or nearly always is. Here's the Feurich, and again, see the brace bar here, and the difference in tone. Well, Feurich's very, very well made, so it's very hard to detect that. On Wellmar pianos, which is the other small piano we like to stock, there's also very little. I haven't got a Wellmar in this area at the moment, sorry, but not that much difference. But it shows you Knight's passion for making the best piano that they could. So back to the Knight, and you see there's no difference whatsoever in the tone. This is the K20. So there's many other aspects. I haven't got time to go through the whole thing. Actually, I'll just show you the brochure about Knights. So here's 1966 brochure actually, but not changed that much to 1971. By the way, the K10 was 1978. Not a lot of difference in construction style. But I think I'll put this on. I'll scan this and put it on with the listing with the photos, because you can see here, if we zero in, iron frame and plate, and there's a section here. I have shown this before. I'm just keen to make sure that the information gets out there. Knight designers have dispensed with the bar brace in the treble section, and in so doing have eliminated the bad notes which normally occur on either side of the treble brake bar. And I think if you're a tuner, you'll agree there is a difference, and this is part of Knight's real fastidiousness to get the best profile piano. He's also got some of the very best laminated main bridge. There's lots of other things which let's say I put it on the listing, but somewhere I saw that the rest plank as well is made of the best rock maple. And sorry, I'm probably staying too long on this. Let's get back to the piano. I thought it might be helpful to see down the bottom of the pianos too. You see the heavy construction of the frame, as a result of which they've got legs, the casters jut out at the back. I'll show you in a minute. That's unique to Knights, really. And a unique design. So it's a K20. That number down there, by the way, isn't the serial number, but I'm trying to get some correlation between that and the serial number, because there are two numbers on Knights, rather like there are on Bechsteins. Don't know why they put two numbers on. And there's the K10, which is more common than the K20, slightly taller. And obviously these are small pianos compared to the Feurich and the Yamaha, so they haven't got quite such a strong bass, but the general tone is wonderful. There's the other number on the K10. While we're at it, here's a look at the Yamaha down below. So the frame isn't so extensive. It's a very stable piano anyway. U1 is certainly a good piano, but these tend to make a noise occasionally, but normally cause problems. Aluminium rather than wooden. The new Feurich, I think it pleases me to see that they haven't compromised at all. There's no plastic in the piano as far as I know at all, and so they're just wooden pedal systems like the old pianos were, and they're the frame. Again, not as extensive as the Knight frame, but both that and the Yamaha are very stable pianos anyway. Now, a quick listen to the tone on the Knights is the K20, and because they've been used a little bit, there's not much marking on the hammer, else we're choosing pianos that haven't been used very much. Huge variety of Knights available, so we're very, very selective, obviously trying to make sure that they're the very best. And because they've been used, they're softer. Now we could, by refacing, we can make that brighter, but it's a small piano and maybe therefore put in a small area in the house, so a softer tone is appropriate. And the bass, of course, a smaller piano is not as strong as a taller piano. And the K10, again, it's slightly brighter piano. This, again, about the same amount of use, not a huge amount, let's say a couple of years of serious practice and then nothing much since. There's a deeper sound than the K20. And the Yamaha U1, this is U1F, in fact, again, not much use and has a very beautiful tone too. Slightly, so we say, I don't know if you can describe a sound as Japanese, but very exacting, maybe a bit plainer sounding. I don't mean that as derogatory, it's a very pleasant sound. And a stronger bass, obviously, and going back to the singing area. And the Feurich is, of course, brand new. On a brand new piano, the hammer's ideally wearing a couple of years and then it will be at its optimum tone. And they're very renowned for their wonderful bass Feurich pianos. So it's 122 centimetres, so a lot taller, longer bass strings. I mean, longer bass strings than the Knights. So the Knight, obviously designed to be a small piano, and I believe one of the very, very best small pianos you can buy. And the K20, so that's obviously the shortest one. Acceptable bass, but where you play the piano most is in the middle, so don't be trying to get a very good bass sound when you're going to be playing mostly here. Needs a bit of voicing. I've noted those on the worksheet. That note's a bit bright. Again, the K10 in the middle area. Nice tenor. Now, it's important, as I mentioned before, to know that the Knight piano, as it's got such a heavy frame, they've decided to make the rear caster jut out a bit, so You've got about 3-4 centimeters clearance from the wall there. That might be important to you, but the night is so stable, and obviously they decided to make it like that. By the way, the soundboard, they say, is the same spruce as is used on Stradivarius violins. So there's the back of a Kemble upright, similar height to the Knight, and there's nothing jutting out here, so the caster's underneath there. So if it's important to you, then obviously we got this Kemble. We have Wellmars in stock, which are the main competitor with Knight. So just have a look at it again. So that's jutting out slightly from the wall. If you put the piano against the wall, it's going to jut out by that much. So there it is against the wall in our shop. So that's a comparison between two Knight upright pianos, K10 and K20. This is the K20. The difference in height does make a slight difference to the bass. I would choose the piano not so much on that basis, but on the individual piano, which one is preferred. So let's try and discern between them. This is very sweet sounding. Have plenty of power if you need it. The singing area around here is the important area, and the tenor. To me, a good piano maker has thought as much about the tenor area as they have about the treble. Let's compare that with the K10. Now here's the K10. This one has, I would say, more typical Knight tone. So again, very special piano. As I mentioned before, you don't really play the bottom bass that much compared to the treble and tenor. So the first consideration should be that. I didn't mention the touch on either of these. I'm sorry about that. It's 50 grams almost exactly weighed out, plus or minus 2 grams on each one. So we're very particular about touch, as we mentioned in other videos, because we know how important it is for musicians and students. Now you could study on this piano very happily. Has a bit more character perhaps than a Japanese piano. I'm sure you might want to dispute that, but just a bit more interest. That's not to say anything bad about the Yamaha U1, which is a wonderful piano too. Thank you very much for listening. I meant to add, actually, I'm sorry to the postscript here, that if you can't visit us and you'd like to try a piano out, then please feel free to rent the piano for a while. Look at our rental schemes, and if you rent for 10 months, then all of that rental will come off the purchase price of the piano. Or if you're confident and would like to buy straight away, we may be able to give you a bit of an incentive financially to do that. As I say, they're very well chosen pianos, at least we try to choose them as well as possible, and not much wear on them, and plenty of life. Let's say, how much life? They're so well made, so well constructed, we might say another 30 years, and if you use them lightly, then the hammers will still not need much work on them. A slight refacing on these will make them brighter if you want brighter sound, but as I've mentioned before, if it's going in a small room, you might not want a bright sound anyway. As an afterthought, I think it would be only fair to listen to the Yamaha, so I hope I can demonstrate some of the tone on it. I tried to do that earlier in the video. Of course, it's a very good piano too. Just the plainest sound. The touch on these and on the Night, I would say, equally good, slightly different, but of course if you've got more space then you might want a taller piano because you get a richer bass sound. More of a rumble in the bass, obviously. But so the Night and the Wellmar I was mentioning before, plenty of Wellmars in stock and videos on Wellmars too. They are ideal for small pianos in small rooms, and you may prefer a taller piano like this or the Feurich for if you've got a big room, and obviously the longer keys give a slightly better touch, arguably, but the Night's so well designed, I think that's not true. I think there is good touch, really. Let's have a quick listen to the Feurich as well. So here's the Feurich. I've got the it from the treble end because of the angle where the piano is situated. Where the Feurich scores over the Yamaha perhaps is just the richness of the bass. Definitely warmer bass. Everything else about them are roughly the same in terms of quality, different tone. I mentioned about new hammers needing wearing in, and that's true. Bit of voicing needed here, and I've featured this in another video, and I need to do a bit of voicing on it. Always mark on the worksheet when I can see that voicing needs doing. It's important, I believe, that we play the pianos quite a lot before we sell them, and just to try and perfect them. I know it's a new piano, but there's no end to perfecting a piano, really. Of course, we're trying to choose as good pianos as possible, and in the price range of these, we believe they are as good as you can get. Thank you for listening. I nearly forgot to mention this little plaque that's on a lot of the Night pianos, and it pertains to all of them, but the plaque's not always there. But just shows you Alfred Knight's real passion for perfectionism, and they did export around the world, so made in England, of course. This instrument has been specially constructed to withstand severe extremes of heat, dryness, humidity and central heating in any part of the world. So a lot of the Commonwealth countries have got Knights, and a lot of them went to the USA. Slightly different, the American design, but the same piano, basic, same construction. I think I should finish off by mentioning the outside of the piano. If you are coming to buy the piano without coming to look at it, then obviously you want to be assured that it is in perfect condition, or as near perfect condition as possible on the outside. And so obviously this affects the value of the piano too. So if it's less expensive, it might be related to cosmetics. In this case, this Night K10, I'm starting with the K10 because it's the most common style. This mahogany satin style, which is veneered, is the most common Night style that you'll get. So there's a little bit here of scrape marks. Apart from that, and a little mark just above the pedal, we might be able to disguise that a bit more. Obviously we're going to try and perfect the piano as much as we can before it goes out. Both sides are perfect, and there's a little mark on the top here, which as you get close you can see it's obviously a watermark. I think we've already tried to get rid of that as much as we can, and little scratches here and there, so we'll present that as perfectly as we can. Now the K20 is the shinier finish, as you can see, and is perfect when you, it's perfect completely. I don't think there's any scrapes or bumps on it at all, certainly nothing obvious, but there is a difference in colour, so because it's been kept closed most of the time. So if you open it up, you can see a difference in colour, and sometimes you get a line on the middle there where it's been kept open, and so there's a difference in colour on the front panel. But in this case, it's obviously been kept closed most of its life and not been used much. Yeah, by the way, if you buy it and open it up like that, then gradually over the years it'll fade in and become integral, which will probably make the piano more valuable. Well, it definitely would if we were selling it. It would be more valuable if it was in. So it affects the value of the piano if it has two tones like that. See the original colour under here, by the way. There we are. So that shows you that original colour. And there's a prop stick I forgot to mention, or don't think I remember to mention, if you want extra volume. So I hope that's helpful.